The It of life. Hoping that the movie I'm thinking of is in here, which I didn't look for at first. It'd be really funny if I go through this and it's not here. Oh, there it is.
What are you doing here? Halloween favorites or not?
Next on Riots, best of the worst Halloween movies, is this guy, Karl the Butcher, from the series of films known as Violent Shit. Because really, technically, they are. Karl the Butcher is a killer from a series of films, a random, barely explained guy who wears a mask not too unlike this. I just quickly made this myself out of tinfoil and some cardboard. And the masks in his movies don't look too different. They're like sheet metal that they cut out. Probably cut the hell out of themselves wearing. Ooh, that was an interesting effect on my head. I'm not going to talk too much about these films because if you're friends of mine, you know that all I do is talk about this film. One of the first films I ever played for a Eyesore Cinema screening. Hey, Eyesore Cinema fans, you should go this Saturday, the 18th, to Eyesore Cinema because it's Independent Video Store Day, Part 4. Incidentally, there's technically been 4 parts of Violent Shit. The last one was Karl vs. Axe, his illegitimate son. At some releases of a movie called Nico the Impaler, which was a movie that the same director did with Trauma, it's sometimes released as Violent Shit 4 as well. Karl has appeared in other movies that Andreas Schnoz, I believe that's how his name is pronounced, probably not, that's just how I've always said it. He's done with Timo Rose, I think was the name of the other guy. They did a movie called Unrated, and Karl appears in that too. The reason I love Part 3 the most, though, sometimes released here under Shockorama as Zombie Doom, is that it is a movie with zombies, but barely. Zombies aren't really that important. There's also ninjas, and lots of serial killers. In the first 2, Karl is just a creepy Jason-type ripoff mysterious man in the woods with an axe or a machete or a hatchet and kills people. In the third one, there's an army of him. An island that's so... Sometimes Violent Shit Part 3 is called the Infantry of Doom, or the Island of Doom, or again, Zombie Doom. There's a strange scientist who works for this army who's making zombies, but that's a totally secondary story. There's a couple of ninjas who are dubbed in perhaps some of the most racist dubbing.
I believe we got company. What do you think?
Too damn quiet here. Something's close.
The dubbing is the best part. To watch this, oh, let's watch a sophisticated version of Violent Shit Part 3. Let's watch that with subtitles. Not worth it. No. The random mumbling and just over-talking, like 2 guys who do all the voices on this. Amazing. Amazingly bad.
Piss off.
The gore is where it's at. German underground films pretty much run by Andreas. Check out the films like Burning Moon and so forth. But it's because the German censor board is pretty heavy on the films that they properly release, so there's a wide range of guys who just release things on their own just so they can do whatever they want. It's kind of catharsis. So like when they're nice, they're super nice, and when they're gory, they're super crude, rude, exploitive, and gross. Lots of homemade guts all over this movie. Lots of buckets of fake blood everywhere. Pretty impressive, actually, for completely homemade special effects. Surprisingly, for the rest of the cheap level of this film. Some of the gore, like when they chop a guy's head right in half, really cool. Chopping a guy right through the middle, and he just keeps on talking and swearing, which is hilarious. Then to go run around with little Halloween weapons running through the woods. Even at one point, there's an extra kid just because they didn't have enough extras. Looks hilarious, looks awesome. Things explode. Let me just add into this, without getting away a lot of the film, there is, for no fucking reason, the ghost of a cyborg Jason Voorhees and the ghost of the Master of the Flying Guillotine. So, yeah, if you haven't seen it, you're going to have to. But enough of my talk about it, because I know I bored all my friends about this movie enough as it is. Yet as bad as this and homemade as this movie is, and with its terrible music and its terrible editing, it's still awesome. Including a guy who pukes for the film, just to add some magic to it. Anyway, enough about my talking. Check out Doug and Mo on No Budget Nightmares podcast. This month in October, Violent Shit, the first one, is their episode of choice. So check them out and hear what they have to say about the franchise. And hopefully get around to checking part 3 out. You can actually watch part 3 without watching the others, because really, they don't mean anything. Well, here's another Halloween shit pick for you. Get ready for part 4 when we go into the Blood Shack.
Piss off.